Today is really, I think, the most fun, interesting, difficult, remarkable wellness practice, and that's getting along with other people. So this idea of healing relationships is what we're going to look at today. And then we're also going to look at media and really look at kind of relationship dynamics as it's shown in the arts through media. So it's fabulous, conversation today. So we're talking about relationship, and this is your typical definition. It's a way in which two or more concepts, objects, people are connected, or the state of being connected. Okay, so what's the relationship of unemployment and politics? It's also the state of being connected by blood or marriage. Well, that gets difficult and interesting. It's important. And that's a relationship. And it's a way in which two or more people or groups regard and behave towards each other. That's really where a lot of difficulty comes along, is you have groups, you have different socioeconomic, you have different cultural, you have different levels of intelligence and respect or disrespect and function and dysfunction. So a relationship is a form of a partnership, and what you see with the hands there is they're not necessarily touching, they're holding space. And I think that's what we're trying to do is create safe space and hold space with light shining through. So this idea of healing relationship, our family of origin, mom and dad, or adopted parents, sets our relationship pattern, our trust levels, and our ability to attach and to bond. So attachment theory is a big part of social psychology. And whether we connected and bonded with mom and dad or we didn't, that's a biggie. And then family values are embedded in our social, cultural, and spiritual values. So we have a relationship of values. And I know in many families, the mom and the dad have different values and different communication styles and different ways of being that can be very disturbing for a young person. A broken or disconnected relationship indicates an unresolved challenge and also an unmet opportunity. So what happens, what we see is triggering, and it reminds us of back situations. And when we get triggered, it does open up an opportunity as the adult, mature, grounded, centered being that we are in this moment to look at ourselves as we were when we were unformed or we were frightened. But it's unresolved, and we do our best to resolve it. Toxic relationship to ourselves, which is self-destructive, others, and to the environment, the culture. Because, toxic means poisonous, damaging, harmful. A lot of times we take this stuff internally and we blame ourselves, hurt ourselves. And then it shows in the way we relate to others and also to the external world. It's a taproot. I like that concept. It's taproot of disease. It's not the only cause, but it goes pretty deep. So a lot of illnesses, you have anxiety, you have depression, you have colitis, you have cancer. We've got to address the symptoms of these things, but the root of it is in this relationship pattern and this unresolved issues with people and with ourselves. So communication is a skill. George Bernard Shaw, the thing about communication is the assumption that it exists. And I find all the time, I say one thing and somebody hears another thing and they don't listen to me and I may not listen to them, and there's not much communication. So this is an art. It's the art and practice of communication, slowing it down, playing it back. Active listening, not interrupting, is a key to being in relationship. So getting out of our own kind of position, our own need, our own want, our own mindset, all that stuff, the me, is to go tell me about it and let me understand more who you are and how you are. So a dynamic healing relationships, and I use the word dynamic because there's a lot of energy in relationship, and it can be difficult, it can be exciting, it can be dull, it can be dynamic. It just goes all around. It enables us. Dynamic healing relationship enable us to heal and to evolve. My thing is we're all pieces of a puzzle, and within ourselves, we're pieces of our own puzzle. And when our pieces begin to connect and fit, you know how you do a puzzle and it fits and you go, yay, a piece fit. Yay, another piece fit. Yay, I've got a pattern here going. That's how healing happens. There are pieces that are broken and pieces that are lost and people that are damaged. And sometimes I'm a piece for you and you're a piece for me, or the situation is a piece for us to try to piece together in this sort of relatable form. All right. I think a biggie, there's so many biggies, is the epidemic of loneliness. And this is from a citation there, workshop. And that, we have a need to connect to others. It's a biological need. And the part of a group is adaptive to survival. And what we've seen is being in this group, there's times when we don't want to be in the group, or there's times when we don't participate, or there's times when we'd rather drop out. And sometimes we do. But it is significant to have this sense of belonging. Bidu spoke to that. And when we fall off the sense of belonging, it's very unnerving to us. But it's adaptive to our survival. The crisis of loneliness poses as grave a threat to public health as obesity or substance abuse. It cuts across generation, reaches around the world. One writer, Katie Hafner, calls it quiet devastation. Emily Dickinson says it is the horror not to be surveyed, so not to be seen, not to be recognized. And millions of people live with sparse human contact. Lonely people are more likely to become ill, to experience cognitive decline, physical illness, and also to die early. So I think loneliness is part of the basement of our being. There are times when I'm lonely, times when loneliness is a natural state, and learning to be alone is a maturing process. It's hard to be alone when one's immature, one's stirred up. But when I'm alone, I feel like I'm with spirit. I feel like I'm with my inner guides and various sort of friends that live inside of me as part of me. So I'm really not that lost and lonely, but I've been alone. I was sick last week. I spent a lot of time alone. Loneliness is a aversive signal, much like thirst, hunger, or pain. So how do we understand loneliness? How do we help others who are suffering loneliness? Technology can be a valuable tool for making connection, but it offers no guarantee that it will relieve loneliness. So tech is common. That's the paradigm. The power of human contact cannot be underestimated. I like hearing people's voice. I like talking on the phone. Nowadays, people text a lot. But when I hear your voice, it's really comforting, and it brings back a lot of feeling for me. There's one skill that lies at the heart of any healthy person, family, school, community organization, or society. It's the ability to see someone else deeply and make them feel seen, to let them feel valued, heard, and understood. Let's really think about this. One skill that lies at the heart of a healthy person, family, group, community, society. The ability to see someone else deeply, to make them feel seen, to let them feel valued, heard, and understood. That is at the heart of being a good person. The ultimate gift you can give to others and to yourself. Human beings need recognition as much as they need food and water. And this is from a book I got this morning by David Brooks, How to Know a Person. It just came out. So the opposite is people don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, they don't feel validated. So they yell, they scream, they hit on people, they make unrealistic demand, they have threats, they go to war, they do all these other harmful, toxic things. And then they justify it by going, well, you hurt me, I'll hurt you. So we can say love, because love is that sense of feeling and that sense of embracing. Love person to person, person to spirit, person to life. And if we don't have love, we can't give love. But I thought that was pretty interesting. The ability to see someone and let them feel seen and heard, and just not get in the way of analysis and interpretation. So this is a graphic, and it's fairly, interesting, superficial. Is healing from traumatic relationship. It's hard, man. A traumatic relationship is so difficult and deep. And the number one thing is to know it wasn't your fault. So if I'm with someone and they're, experiencing trauma and previous trauma, I just carry that thing that, you got caught in it, it hurt, but it wasn't your fault. You didn't intend for it to go that way. And then there's these practices. And these are things we hear and things we do, and they're useful. They're mostly self-care. They're not transactional. My experience on healing relationship, is that the connection with another person, especially a mentor, that helps someone grow through a sense of wound and hurt. But the various things are affirm your self-worth, practice mindfulness, journal, express feelings, talk about your experience, be present, create boundaries, very important. Practice self-care, have blessings in manifesting, forgive yourself, honor your needs, take it one step at a time, self-talk, reassure, take the time you need to process. So it's from a website. So I think these are practices and tools, but a good relationship that has depth and duration and can go through difficulty becomes really transformative and help us all grow together. And then this idea of society is about us being together with positive respect for one another. But really it's about, what's a healing relationship for you? What's a toxic relationship? Do you have issues with boundaries, respect, and attitude? How does a toxic affect your trust, your mood, your self-esteem? How are you with your friends, attentive wives? Do you have a mentor? And what would inspire you to grow in a relationship practice? The inner work, the partner process, agreements, accountability, and so forth. So this is a big inquiry. I really hope that you'll take it for homework and share it with another friend or colleague or someone in our group outside of class. Can we shift to Christina?
Just sort of the arts component for today. I wanted to look at media arts as a tool for examining healthy relationships. What does it look like to have a healthy relationship, or even sort of identifying where there might be, again, all those things that Dr. B mentioned, where there's breakdowns in communications, or active listening is not happening, or respective boundaries is not happening. What I love about media arts, particularly film, which I'm biased because I'm a film instructor, so I love movies. But what I love about movies is that above and beyond the sort of entertainment aspects that we get from them, they can make us laugh, they can make us cry, we kind of escape from the world. But another really powerful thing that movies can do is actually educate us. When we really look at the message of the film, what is this film trying to teach us? There's many different things that we can kind of glean from a story. And a film sort of serves in a way as being like a fishbowl, where a scenario is acted out in front of us, and it allows us to be that objective observer to just kind of see what is the situation these characters are in, What are the choices that these characters make? Why do these characters make these choices? And we can also look at the relationships that each character has with the other. And where is the relationship going well? Where is it not going well? And what is kind of happening in this situation that's sort of making the relationship go astray? And just sort of the benefits of media arts is that they serve as an important means of cultural communication, highlighting shared human struggles, and also providing a space for us to pause and reflect on our place and our purpose in the world. So then this story that has been acted out in front of us, now applying that to my life when I go out into my world and have my scenarios and my relationships with other people, what are ways that I can learn from that film that I may want to repeat or not repeat when I get to my personal circumstances? And just some examples of media, because like I said, I'm talking about film because I teach film and I'm biased. But the other type of media arts, there's lots of other arts. Still photography is a media art, podcast radio, doing graphic design and digital graphics on a computer, and then also interactive media. These are all different ways that we can engage with media arts as a tool. And again, think about what are we seeing, what are we observing, what are we learning from these images that we're either seeing that someone else captured or that we're capturing through our production. So we're going to watch a documentary short called My Enemy, My Brother. And this is a really compelling story about two soldiers that fought in the Iraq-Iran war and about a relationship that they end up developing with each other. And that's all I want to say about it because I really want the film to speak for itself. And I'll show the film. I'm going to optimize my video and my audio, so hopefully it will play smoothly. But if anyone's having any difficulty, feel free to drop a note in the chat. And I'll also include a link to the film in the chat. So if you do have any difficulties or want to watch on your own, you've also got access to the full film. This is actually just a short version of the film that was made in 2015. For anyone that wants to see the longer version, there was actually an hour and a half movie that was actually made that was based off of this short film. So I just put that in the chat as well in case anyone wants to check out the full version. All right, so I hope everyone had a chance to view the film okay. I wanted to just, I know we don't have much time left, but I wanted to just open it up for any comments or reactions that anyone has, because it was such an interesting experience to see two men coming from two warring countries find connection and healing with one another. So I was just wondering if anyone had any thoughts they wanted to share on their journey and how we might think about applying that even in our own lives and our own relationships with others.